Hi, my name is Amber, and my brother is in the Pelican Bay SHU. And I first want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for having these hearings. And I beg of you to please don't fall for, what CDC and the Inspector General has said. Go by their actions. And in their actions, no real significant change has been made. I read a few days ago that Pelican Bay SHU is now allowed cake with icing and cinnamon buns. I haven't been fighting this fight for my brother and human rights for the past 2 years for my brother to receive a cupcake.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'll keep it brief. I'd like to thank you as well, the committee. I just want to mention two things. One about the debriefers. In a court of law, when an inmate is used to testify against someone else, they don't. One of the questions a prosecutor will ask is, have you been paid or given anything for this testimony? And they usually respond by saying, no, I haven't. That's because it would be considered tainted, his testimony. But as a debriefer, they can tell or say whatever they want without anything substantial to back that up. And they will take it and run with that and keep somebody in solitary confinement for 7 years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello. Thank you, committee, for having this hearing today. I just wanted to say that my brother has been in Pelican Bay for 23 years in the SHU, in solitary confinement for 23 years. And I don't know how long more he can take it. He is at the end of his rope. He's not my brother anymore. And I just wish, Senator, if you could please meet with Dolores so she could give you the papers that we have to back up what we have against what the lies they're telling about our loved ones.
All right,
Thank you.
We will. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Lupe Reynoso, and I have a son that he just went into the SHU. They gave him a 3-year sentence, and he was always like very uplifting because I was able to visit him in a closer prison like Tehachapi. I'm from Los Angeles, and now it's like it's impossible to go to Pelican Bay. And the last letter he wrote to me, it seems like he's like breaking down, like I know how what they say that it's like that the shoot is made to break him down, but I mean I have faith. So I know because of the California families, I've learned that there's programs that can help me go up there. So please, just do what you can to humanize my son.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My brother told me, you asked me to draw my dreams. I think dreams right now is not a good idea. I know you will say not to do that, but it's hard in this place. CDC is not only stealing our life, but they even steal the color of life. And I was going to ask CDC why, sorry.
It's okay.
I was gonna ask CDC to stay so they can hear our feelings that that we have for our brothers or sons or families. But for CDC, once again, they prove that they don't care about our loved ones. 2 years before. They didn't even say anything about it. 2 years later, we can prove that we are more prepared, knowing that solitary confinement is torture.
All right,
My name
thank
is
you.
Marta, but it's also Luis.
Thank you, Marta. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Gerardo Sanchez. I'm a janitor in San Francisco. I'm a member of Local 2 Unite here, and I'm running for treasurer of San Francisco of the Socialist Workers' Party. My campaign supports 30,000 hunger strikers, workers who are in prison. They are workers. Rich people never ends in jail. They don't, under the system of capital system, you never find rich people in jail. So I support, my campaign will support the demand to end solitary confinement, to improve the inhumane living conditions inside prison for all the workers inside. Such a better close, the right to have more time for educate themselves and for their families, and more than anything, I want to tell the 30,000 hunger strikers that we outside here will support the bar strikers who are fighting against cats
Okay,
and
sir.
their living conditions.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Beth, and I want to thank you for giving us hope because most of the time we don't have any. My husband has been in Pelican Bay Shoe for 19 years, and if something isn't done right away, even though he's a youngster compared to my other friends, he could be in there for a lot longer. He asked me to ask you, who benefits from the status quo? Who benefits from a lack of education and rehabilitation? Who benefits from the fact that it doesn't matter how much these men have improved themselves, how much they've changed? It doesn't matter in a review. That's just eliminated. Senator Hancock, I want to tell you that I have a lot of research. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a research diva. I will provide any and everything that you want to know. The reps already prepared a document last March with all their alternatives. Secretary Beard in his confirmation hearing said that there was $25 million surplus in rehabilitation funds. We'd like to see that money going to the SHU.
All right.
The Inmate Welfare Fund is also available. There was an $11 million discrepancy in the last state audit, and I'd like you to look at that, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, as everyone else has said before, for your work in taking serious reviews of what's going on here. So I looked at all this stuff when I first came in here and listened to the testimonies given by people from California Correctional Institution. I'm wondering if this was 1938, and instead of hearing these people speak English, we were listening to Germans speak about how they will decide what Jews would go into what concentration camps. It would cause public outrage other places in the world. What has gone on here, the idea of having an institution called the SHU, is equivalent to putting Jews in concentration camps and labor camps in Poland. There is no question this is a public outrage, and it should be done. The second thing I wanted to say was that the extent to which the SHU does exist, to the extent that one cannot show a nexus between its existence and a good outcome, it should be eliminated.
All right, sir.
One other point.
I want to thank you.
Okay, just may I make one other point?
Okay, quickly.
Okay, so the last of the points is, and Dorsey mentioned this earlier, there are lessons that can be learned from prisoners. To the extent that people are put in shoes, it should be for purposes of fixing that condition, and they can learn from persons who have been in those environments to
Thank you.
Put in place criteria to fix them.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, my name is Marie Levin, and my brother is housed in the security housing unit. I want to thank all of you who have stayed around and listened to everything. I just wanted to say, Senator Hancock asked about how did they survive. My brother has survived in the SHU because of his hopes to get out and be with his family, his hopes to be free. He's incarcerated for a crime that he did not commit. First crime, going into prison. Second crime is being labeled a gang member by reading a George Jackson book. So I just want to say I'm grateful for you guys continuing this move. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Randy Levin. My brother-in-law, this is my wife. My brother-in-law is Sitaba. He's been in the Pelican Bay SHU for 29 years. And I guess what's really on my heart is I would really challenge you folks to go up there and make time with some of these guys, some like my brother-in-law, that have been in there for a long time, and they're so, well, I'll say this. The first time I talked with my brother-in-law was in 2011, and I said, the first words out of my mouth were, I'm so proud of you for keeping your sanity. Not only has he kept his sanity, he's thought through things, he has compassion, he's thoughtful, and I would really just challenge you to go up and meet with some of these guys.
All right, sir, thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Constance Pedroza, and I have a son who is in the SHU. He has been in the SHU for 16 years. My son has never committed a violent crime in his life, and up to this day, he still hasn't. He was affiliated with a gang member only by a cousin who was validated. and because they exchanged a birthday card, he was validated at that time and put in the SHU. But he was on the hunger strike this time, and he was destined. He told me that if he had to die, that he would die for the cause of human dignity and rightness. And we are a large family, and we come from all of our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren believe in Jesus and that he was going to pull him through this, and he did. And my son has gained back 16 pounds, which isn't too good because he gained it very fast. And but one thing I'd like to comment about Mr. Harrington, he mentioned the menu, the food that was better. I got a letter from my son the other day. He said they changed the menu a little bit, but they called chicken strips that were written on the menu chicken stew that they've always got. It's the same food.
All right. Thank you, ma'am, very much. Next speaker, please. Thank you.
My name is Tommy Reyes. I've served SHU time myself, and you know, it's the validation for one. You know, you're put in the SHU, and I was there for an ad charge, and just being up above me was a validated gang member, and just for associating with him, they wanted to validate me. And I mean, come on, CDC puts us together, and yet they want to, you know, validate me because I'm talking to him. You know, I mean, that's how we, you know, we've got to communicate with somebody, you know, and it's just wrong, you know. And another thing, too, about you guys need to really look into the CEOs. They got a big black market going on there. Big time.
All right, sir. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello. My name is Christina Arechiga. I'm with the California Statewide Coalition Against Police Brutality and care very much about this issue. I'm also a voter. What I want to say is that what is happening inside of these prisons with the correctional officers is police brutality, and it's state-sanctioned police brutality. And the people of the state of California aren't going to put up with it anymore. I think it's very disrespectful that many CDCR representatives left when the family started to talk. And I think that goes to show their unwillingness to really come up with a solution and sit down at the table with us who are being affected by this. And like that gentleman said, correctional officers, where this is going to end is when we start holding people accountable, including correctional and peace officers, for committing crimes such as bringing in contraband and doing illegal acts such as setting people up for fights or all the other illegal things that are happening in there. When we hold these people accountable, then and only then will we see change. And the last thing I want to say is that CDCR has, first of all, no rehabilitation whatsoever. Okay. And so I don't know why we changed the name. And also, one more thing about the CDCR is that they will continue to do this, and they will continue to use these excuses of gangs until you stop them.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jake. The previous lady mentioned a lot about brutality abuses and lack of rehabilitation, and the underlying issue I see behind this is the monopoly of force. When we have the state as the only provider of these prisons, we see this, there's no incentive for rehabilitation to ever happen because there's no competition trying to get the taxpayers' money, right? We just give it to these people. So someone earlier mentioned that Governor Brown is going to be investigating the privatization of prisons, right? It's our responsibility as the people of California and yours as legislators to make sure that he doesn't go down the road that several southern states have taken and give the contracts for private prisons to single companies for the whole state for like long periods of 10 years or more, because that will just continue the monopoly on force and cause the abuses and lack of rehabilitation to continue. So as California citizens, we have to make sure that Governor Brown, if he does pursue this path, engages in a competitive distribution of the taxpayer funds.
All right, thank you, sir.
Secondly, real quick, if we really want to rehabilitate the prisoners, we should stop spending money on victimless crimes like the drug war and spend all that money on real rehabilitation and job training.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name's Lori Nairn, and I have a statement I want to submit to the committee from the Global Women's Strike, Women of Color, and the Global Women's Strike, and the U.S. Prostitutes Collective. And I'm just going to make one point from this statement, which is as you look at the shoes and do assessments, would you also look at the impact that this whole situation has on the mothers, the sisters, the daughters, the wives, the women who do the justice work, who drive to the prisons, who do all that work in the community while their loved ones inside are being tortured.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Stilitha, and my son is in Tehachapi in solitary confinement. And the one thing that I would like to say, I thank you for having this, but I really want to see some true, not more meetings, but meetings with some substance of getting these people out of solitary confinement and making true changes. One thing I noticed, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of stuff that's really already out there. I watch TED, which is Technology, Education, and Design. They've had specials on about things that they've done for rehabilitation and to make changes in the prison system. And even one, they started a group of guys that were became well versed in stocks, and so it's like they made them have to dress a certain way and attend these programs. Give these guys some hope. They're smart people. They've made mistakes and they want to do better.
Okay.
So we just need to recognize that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I work with Simbarras, which is a prisoners' rights group in Santa Cruz, California. A lot of people are in prison for crimes of poverty, and because of the war on gangs and the war on crime and the war on drugs. And then a lot of people go in the SHU because of their political beliefs or because they're jailhouse lawyers or prison rights activists. These guys have been studying freedom fighters like Bobby Sands, like Nelson Mandela, and they modeled their hunger strike after people that the world considers the greatest fighters for human rights. So I think that their agreement to end all hostilities is something we need to learn from on the outside, and they can teach us. They can teach us a lot. We need to give them the access to their families, the access to their communities.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Debbie McDermott. I'm representing the California Catholic Conference Restorative Justice Committee. Our committee has submitted a letter on this hearing, and we look forward to the conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Alex Sanchez. I'm with Homies Unidos, a gang intervention organization in Los Angeles, but also in El Salvador. And also, all of us are non-member, formerly incarcerated. I want to touch on the issue of this agreement to end hostilities and the importance of it, the context in there. In El Salvador, because I'm Salvadoran, in March of 9th of 2012, they took 30 individuals from the maximum security prison of Zacatecolucas, in which they form a agreement to stop the gang war with each other, in so reducing gang violence by 50%. To this day, that truce is still sustained. And it's sustained because they got support from government. This agreement to end hostilities should be invested, should be taken seriously. Okay. And you have people here like Dorsey that understands, that's been to El Salvador. I think you need to look at El Salvador and what's happening over there as a model and start doing what has failed for the last 50 years.
All right, thank you, sir, very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Carol Strickman. I'm a staff attorney at Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and a member of the Hunger Strike Solidarity Coalition. And we have a number of legislative ideas to share with you. I just want to bring up one right now, and that has to do with reinstating good time credit for prisoners who are in the SHU, not for committing an offense, but for gang validation reasons. We've brought that up for 2 years now. It's been very difficult, although it will save money, it will get people out of the SHU, and it should be endorsed and and we'd love to see some help with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name's Nancy, and I'm a psychologist and do prison visits for California Prison Focus and the Coalition. And I've asked the men, how do you maintain your humanity under inhumane conditions? And they consistently say, I keep myself impeccable and my cell impeccable. I work out. I read, write, teach others, speak. I do some sort of a practice, a meditative or religious practice, or I pray. And if I'm lucky, I have family and friends that visit me. It keeps me whole and that I love me. And they have meaning in their lives. Many of them say, I don't expect to ever get out. I'm doing this for my younger brothers. I don't want them to be here.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, please.
My name's Kim, and I do legal visits on behalf of California Prison Focus and the Coalition. And just to address a few things, Mr. Cooley, I don't think we need more studies. I'm going to agree with Steve on that. The information is here. To echo some of the things I've heard from people inside, that we're even having this discussion is insane. Standards are meaningless within the CDC from what I can tell. And yes, the rules do change, and they change in mid-game, and the people inside are the last to know about it quite frequently. For example, around family visits, all of a sudden people are having family members come after making an appointment, come 500 miles, and then be turned away on the basis that they don't have an appointment, or their family member sends a form to their loved one gives that to the visiting area, which was done for a long time. Suddenly that doesn't fly either. So
thank you.
No more studies.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Gloria, and I have a brother in the SHU. And just to go along with what she's saying, I've traveled the 4 hours. Thank God it's not 8 or 9. And I went for my appointment with even a confirmation number, and they have turned me away, me and my mother, who is disabled. And I've had to drive back home without seeing my brother. On that note, also that was just on a comment of hers. On the first panel, Mr. Michael Stainer was saying that they report on how they discipline their inmates. My brother was caught with a cell phone. Like most of them get them from the staff there. The sergeant was so upset with him that after he gave him the 6-month SHU time, and he finished that, he threw him out with guards, emptied 2 cans of pepper spray to the floor, wet, burning, soaking, could not breathe, he's asthmatic, and handcuffs on the floor. They do not report everything how they discipline them.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Carissa Eder. I'm a good friend of Michael Zaharibu Duro. Just want to show you a picture of him. I have a statement from him from a letter. He said, the healthcare department could actually end the torture tomorrow. The people who run the healthcare system absolutely know of the significant contribution that isolation makes to the physical and psychological deterioration of people who are subjected to it. All it takes is for the healthcare policymakers to have courage and to stop allowing itself to be subordinate to custody. It really is shameful politics and money. Each body and each cell represents a lot of money. Each body and each cell that is prescribed medication, even more. There is no incentive to heal when you are rewarded for doing nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I know you're tired, so I'm going to be real quick. My name is Emily Bruce. I go to UC Davis, and I just want to reiterate the importance of rehabilitation, as I've been researching about this for years now. And I think what's very important is to have people that are incarcerated more in touch with their humanity. And I learned of a program in another prison. I can't remember right now what the state was, but they provide hospice care to inmates who are serving life and who are passing away. And the documentary is actually called Serving Life. And I feel like this is an issue that doesn't just concern people that are incarcerated and their families, but it concerns society as a whole, because you have people being released back into society and you want them to be rehabilitated so they do not offend again. And I feel that having these types of programs is a better way of getting that job done. And I feel that the time is always right to do the right thing. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. And the speaker after him will be the last speaker.
Thank you very much for having this hearing. My name is Nani Alejandres. I'm the director of Santa Cruz Barrios Unidos. We're a national organization. We started in 1977 trying to stop the violence in our barrios. My oldest son did 20 years in Pelican Bay in the SHU. My grandson is currently incarcerated in the SHU. He's 20 years old. I got convicted as a 17-year-old as an adult. The last 22 years, a lot of us have dedicated our lives to working within the institutions to try to reach our brothers and sisters in there. And we've come up with something that someone mentioned about ethnic studies, is that transcommunalities, teaching men inside how to get along with it. And we've been running this program where it's incredible of the resources that's there. And I don't think we've ever reached out to this population to be able to help. So again, I want to leave you with this.
Thank you.
And that it's been working for over 20 years. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right, next speaker, please. And now, if there are any more speakers, don't sneak up on us. Just get online. It'll be a little bit, but we'll be fine. All right, sir.
My name is JP. I think this entire discussion is insane. I'm confident that 150 years from now, we will look back, the people who are living will look back and they will shake their heads and go, how on earth could they ever have treated human beings like this? How could they possibly have allowed this? And so I simply ask you to think about that and whether you want to be part of the solution to the problem or whether you want to have people look back and say, yes, you allowed this to continue. You allowed this torture, this horrible, horrible treatment of human beings to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Quickly, yes, I wanted to speak against the censorship of the literature coming into the prison. With the newspaper, we have a lot of prisoners who read the paper, and we just recently are in a case in Florida where just with a factual article on the prison strike here in California, they said this cannot go in the prison because it will lead to security problems and violence. So, the same slanders against the hunger strike is here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
Hi, I am here to thank you for taking the opportunity to me, to listen. And also, my son is in a high desert prison, and taking me almost 11 hours to drive over there. I depend on a ride, and that prison is always in lockdown, not for a month, for more than a year. And sometimes I had to ask for a ride to see him through the glass for 1 hour. It cost me sometimes almost $200 or $300 to go there. That's all.
That's all right. Thank you, ma'am, very much. Ms. Canales?
Hello, thank you. I'd like to close with this letter from Lisa Henlin. She has 2 brothers in the SHU. Their mother would be here today, but she passed away last year. I take at least 6 trips a year. I lose about $200 per day off, plus the kids have to take at least Friday off of school and be super tired from the long drive on Monday. I also have several physical problems, which prevents me from driving for more than 2 hours. But even sitting in the car for the whole trip makes me be in so much pain. I'm not supposed to sit for more than a half hour, so it really takes its toll on my body. With that being said, I have to beg someone to come with me to help drive, which is a pain every time. I hate bothering other people to come with me and waste their weekend. But the fact is, I won't see them if I don't. They sure knew what they were doing when they built Pelican Bay all the way in such a remote location. If they were closer, doing time would be so much easier for them and for us family members. We could visit every weekend or every other weekend, and friends would visit too if it wasn't an 8-hour drive. Right now, no friends or other relatives visit because of the long distance. They are even more in solitary being all the way up there, especially with no phone. It breaks my heart that my nieces and nephews say they don't really know their fathers. It shouldn't have to be like this for so many families. I have 2 brothers in SHU, so most of this is doubled. But to make it easier, the amounts below are for 1 inmate. an estimated total of $8,000 a year per each inmate and visiting costs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for your patience, for your frustration, for the edification. And as Senator Hancock has said, we're in this for the long haul. We do want solutions, and we also want to be able to reach out to other people who have some decision-making power here and let them know what you conveyed to us today. This meeting was televised, so it would be possible, I think, for us to be able to secure a tape if that's what's needed, if you wanted to show this to other people, particularly the public testimony. I know it's a little frustrating because we don't want to be rude and cut you off, et cetera, but we do have time constraints. But again, this won't be the only time we'll be talking to you. And definitely, we would hope to get some legislation out of the facts and that we've heard today. So thank you very much. And is there any other comments? All right.